Here I come.
I sense something elusive. Stay a while and listen.
Well met.
You are not prepared.
This better be good.
Existence is mysterious.
Loud and clear. Hello there.
Greetings, traveler, and welcome to the BlizzCon.
4 of the Blue Recluse. My name is Martin Larsen, and you're listening to the podcast about everything Blizzard. It's Sunday, September the 9th, 2018, and with me today, as usual, it's Tom Knight.
Hello. I can already sense the confusion from listeners and Twitch viewers as we have changed up just how the show starts. We're going straight into that awesome Blue Recluse intro. No more talking, about silly things and then transitioning to that. We're getting straight into it these days because there's just so much stuff. We don't have time to mess around, right, guys? Guys?
What? Sorry. No, of course. No messing around. Michael, how you doing? You're here with us today as well.
Yes, I am. I'm ready to go. So unlike Tom, let's just go right into it. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, here we are. We are right into it. No need to push buttons. No sounds to press. Nothing to. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. Minor technical difficulties on my end. We're good to go. How are you guys doing? Everything all right? What have you been up to lately, Tom?
Sleeping. I was sleeping. I took a little nap before the show. So, if I'm a little extra kind of dopey this week, that is why. But no, still kind of playing the World of Warcraft Battle For Azeroth. Haven't played it as much this week as I'd like to. So I'm kind of at this stage where I'm seeing a lot of people around me complaining that there's nothing to do and they're running out of things to do. They've hit these reputation levels with certain people. They've done Mythic Plus. And I'm sitting here like, I've done like a couple of normal dungeons. I'm still finding quests to do. I'm like, there's so much to do. There's so much to do. And then we got Warfronts this week, which I'm guessing we will go into.
We'll talk about that
because there's a lot of drama surrounding Battle For Azeroth. Not just kind of story wise, but kind of what's happening within the game as well. But I'm sure we all have something to say about that.
Michael, anything special going on?
I wouldn't say special, just kind of playing the games as best I can. I did get geared up and I'm ready for heroic dungeons finally. I'm at like 315 eye level, so I could finally get in there. I'm hoping to be raid ready by this weekend, or actually by Thursday, so that hopefully I can raid on Thursday. And then I'm gonna miss Friday because I'm doing party stuff. So
I thought he was going to talk about you were at like a wine and cheese festival yesterday. You were telling me before the show.
It's the art and wine festival, Tom, not the wine and cheese. Okay, I'm not European. I never got that. Why is it like wine and cheese? No, we're not going there. The wrong podcast for that. But no, just playing some games. Played some StarCraft 2 the other day. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was. I won. So.
Oh, you were telling us because you were playing some. Were you playing some Warcraft 3 and you maybe got beat and you had to go and play an RTS that you were a bit more familiar with?
No, where there's nobody playing it, so it's easier to win.
Actually, I played the AI on both of them, and the AI on easy beat me in Warcraft 3, so I played the AI in StarCraft and won.
There we go. We got the sound clip. We've got the sound clip of him in a minute. Can use it against him.
All right. So what I have been playing, Tom, you might know this game. It's called Hearthstone.
What's going on here? What is?
I don't know. Because I've been playing some mobile games lately, and I was like getting a little bit bored with them, or reaching a point where it's like, oh, if you want to continue, pay some money to us. And I was like, I don't want to. So
not anymore.
So I was like, I installed Hearthstone on my phone.
Wait, you installed it, therefore you had uninstalled it at one point?
baby.
Oh my god.
So I installed Hearthstone with the intent of going into puzzle labs, and I did. And it pains me to say it, but it's fun.
Why would it pay you to say it? Why would it pay you?
I'd hate to admit that the game is decent.
No, it's actually really good fun. I haven't. I had to look one puzzle up because I was just going mad. I was
Cheater.
like, with this one puzzle, there's no way you could do it in any other way, and obviously there was. But no, so far it's really good fun. I've only looked that one up. Besides that,
Have you completed it entirely, or are you still?
No, I'm still working on it. I think I have done the 3 first ones of all categories, maybe bar the last one or something like that. But yeah, I'm making good progress. I can absolutely see that it's ramping up in difficulty, but it's fun.
What do you think about that? Because obviously, as we've established, you don't play it as much as maybe me and even Michael to some degree. But I feel like they hit pretty good point on making the first kind of set of puzzles accessible to get you to grips with understanding what they want you to achieve, and then I felt like the difficulty ramped up pretty nicely actually, and it gets, in my opinion, to a point of when you're really thinking after a couple of puzzles, which is good, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they've hit a really good sweet spot, because I definitely felt like the difficulty going up, but I also felt like because you actually have a set, cards and stuff, so it's basically just figuring out in what order and what combination how to use it. So I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I feel like it. No, I feel like it works really well. I still have to jump into the last set, so I don't really know what to expect from those. And I'm really enjoying it. And I think that if I had someone make decks for me for when I'm playing Hearthstone, something that would probably work in a lot of situations, then I would actually probably have fun with Hearthstone. I think, like Michael, my big issue is the whole deck building aspect of it, to figure out what actually works together.
That's why you just craft Fizzle Bang, Marty. Just craft Fizzle Bang.
He creates a deck for me every time.
Yeah, he picks one. You don't have to worry. And I've heard people being relatively successful. I think I mentioned it the other week. Have a little wild challenge with Ziggy and the Crosshair on Twitter. The Crosshair got to like rank 13 on Wild with Fizzle Bang.
Yeah,
which is pretty amazing.
He messaged me the other night because I was actually on Hearthstone, and he messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want 80 gold? Because I got the friend quest." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it."
You're playing Hearthstone that much that the Crosshair is offering you that quest. Now I feel like I've been replaced.
But no, he was like asking, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So I actually, while he was playing against something at the point, so while he was doing that, I jumped in, just make a quick deck with some of the new cards, and I just used I just pressed help me build a deck, so where it shows you 3 options and stuff like that. So I built a quick deck, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually, it could work, this deck." I got into the game and was beat after 4 rounds. So so it seems like the cross. It seems like he has a pretty good deck at the moment. Crosshair.
Yeah, he's always coming up. He is like a mad scientist. He's always putting together crazy stuff and then sending me screenshots of decks.
Speaking of mad scientist, I actually saw the behind the scenes videos as well, where they go all mad scientist-y. I was like, "Oh, this is actually really good fun," and you actually saw real footage from when they're trying to sell the idea of the new expansion to the other developers, and the amount of effort that actually went into just in a normal meeting to sell the idea. I thought that was really cool that they basically did the whole introduction trailer-y thing that they did. They actually sort of live performed it for the other developers, and I thought that was really cool to see that they actually do things like that, as well as creating games as well. So that was really, really cool to see.
You know what would be really cool? If they somehow implement this puzzle lab thing where we can create puzzles for other players and share them with our friends to solve as well. Imagine if
That would be cool.
we get to the stage where the community can create content within Hearthstone, you would just blow it wide open. And
it
when you get the
opens
community on board
so many possibilities.
to make things, it's just
That's the
wow.
worst idea ever, because I can just imagine in my head I create like the most amazing puzzle ever, and then somebody solves it within like 2 minutes, and they're like, "That was really easy," and I'm just like, "Well, there goes 8 hours of what I thought was challenging content."
But no, that would actually be a really cool idea. I mean, when the community can do stuff themselves, then there is a possibility that something amazing will be created. That's how Dota was created, for instance. So, yeah, could be cool.
Could be.
Yeah. So I'm playing Hearthstone.
Unbelievable. I have to make sure I'm still not taking my nap. Poking myself. No, I'm definitely awake. Marty's playing Hearthstone. It's weird times we live in. Weird times.
Yeah. I was actually playing a match against someone while I was making breakfast this morning on my phone.
This is just. Who are you? Where is Marty? Where is the
He's
real
behind.
Marty?
He's behind the curtain here, behind me, lying dead on the shelves, cut in pieces.
Wow!
I never thought.
Wow!
Oh my goodness! I never thought I'd say this, but can we stop talking about Hearthstone and can we talk about something else?
Sure, we can.
Big.
Something big. We got the announcement that it was sort of like an incidental leak or something, and we never really talked about it on the show last week, even though we wanted to talk about it. It seems like that Michael's wish is being fulfilled, that we're getting a Diablo 4 announcement maybe at BlizzCon.
Okay, so we don't know that it's Diablo 4. The dream is, of course, that it's Diablo 4, but the rumors going around is that there are going to be some announcements in the Diablo world. Now, some things that make people say that it could be Diablo 4 is that there was an interview, I think, with one of the developers during Gamescom initially, that they were talking about the Switch Diablo 3 version and things like that, and they actually said that they were excited because there's an announcement coming up that will make ARPG fans excited, and it's Diablo related. Now, for those who don't know, ARPG is action role-playing game. It's essentially dungeon crawlers like Diablo, Torchlight, Path of Exile, things like that. So there's confirmation from Blizzard that something is Diablo related is going to be released, or announced at least.
And wasn't there also a book where the description on the book on some site or something was released a little bit prematurely, where they actually said something about, and with the Blizzard announcement, blah blah blah. It's
well, this was the comics, right? The comic
was it the comics? Yeah.
It's coming out in November. Yeah, the kind of wording on that was to suggest that to coincide with the newly announced Diablo whatever that we're going to be getting. So it's we are in like weird times with Diablo as well, because we were all like totally like, yes, this is the year we're gonna get that Diablo 4 announcement. Then they announced Diablo on the Switch, and they're like, oh well, no, maybe not. And now we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get it now. We're gonna get it now. And then maybe next week something's gonna happen. We're like, oh no.
Oh no.
I still held out that branch. I still held out the branch, expecting someone to grab onto it and give us some Diablo stuff. Now, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, because it could simply be Diablo 2 remaster, or it could be Diablo 1 on the phone, which I don't think they'll do that. I don't think that Diablo 1 is really one that people are going to go back and revisit, to be honest.
I just hope they announce something, because how many podcasts and how many times do we sit here and we're like, well, I hope it's Diablo 4, could be the remastered Diablo 2, could be the remastered Diablo 1, it could be on mobile. It's like, come on, Blizz, just put us out of our misery. Put us out of our misery now.
In one way or another. Simply say it's coming, or we don't mean to lead you guys on. It's not coming ever. Yeah. We have comics.
But it feels like it's going to be something big, right? Because they've been hiring for people. There's, if you go to the careers page on like Blizzard as well, that they're recruiting people for unannounced project. Actually, my girlfriend Amanda pointed that out to me the other day when she was looking at careers at Blizzard. She's like, "Oh, look at all these unannounced project things. That's cool. Wonder what that is." And I was like, "Oh, it's
Sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but I need to get it out right now.
it's okay. It's usually Mar.
Somebody had to do it, but David Kim has actually been on the Diablo team since like January 2017 or something like that. For those who don't know, David Kim was a lead balancer for StarCraft 2. So who knows what that could mean? It could mean maybe he's doing paperwork, or it could mean that maybe the future Diablo game is going to have some multiplayer aspect that they needed somebody to balance test
It's
it
an
and
RTS.
do all that
It's
stuff.
an RTS. Confirmed. Diablo, the new RTS of Blizzard.
I'd play that. I'd play that.
I mean, there was always talk of, once the StarCraft RTS franchise is kind of wrapped up, that maybe they'll do something with StarCraft in a different style. Or there's always talk of maybe taking something Blizzard are doing with one of their IPs and doing it with one of the other ones. But I can't ever really see that happening. I think it would be a bit weird if they and made it into an RTS, or although they have Warcraft, which they had an RTS, but people are always kind of clamoring for Warcraft 4, which it's also in a precarious territory where we're kind of like, well, how are they going to do that with World of Warcraft still existing? It feels like having multiples of those titles right now, it wouldn't make sense to kind of pull your player base away from one to go into another. You want people to, if somebody wants to play an FPS, they're going into Overwatch. If someone wants to play an MMO, they're going to Warcraft, RTS, StarCraft, and that's kind of feels like where we're going. And then when we've got this time now, we're like, oh, unannounced project, what is the next thing? Like, what are we missing? Is it a racing game? Is it a fighting game? Because are we gonna get that 8-bit fighting game, Michael, that we saw in the
on the map,
that would be
on the
amazing.
Overwatch map?
Overwatch map. Yeah, are we gonna get that?
We're gonna get
But-
Diablo Kart.
Diablo. That would be actually amazing, because I know we have like Mario Kart, and we have I know Sega brought out one with like all their heroes, and I feel like Blizzard could pull that off, because we had the rocket racing in Heroes of the Storm as a brawl. And I can't remember which one of you, either Marty or Michael, was like, no, it was.
That was probably
boring.
me. I thought it was boring.
I liked it.
I must have been me and Marty. We're like, this is incredible. Look what they've done inside the Heroes of the Storm engine. Imagine this as a fully fledged game. Oh, I could get behind Blizzard Kart or something like that. I could get behind that.
Just use a
Blizzard
different
Kart.
engine.
On the Switch.
Use a different
Blizzard
engine.
Of course.
I would play that. I would pay money for that.
We could dream. We're already making the crazy BlizzCon predictions already, and it's. I mean, it's
It's
almost time
still
for
more than
BlizzCon.
a month out.
It's almost.
So Tom, you won Blizzard card. Michael, if you had to make up something Blizzard could do you have anything? I know I just put you on the spot right now. Didn't have too much time to think, but
He wants Blizzard Solitaire, but the card backs are just Blizzard characters. He's not asking for much.
I would like
Michael?
a single player
Minekeeper.
StarCraft game.
Sorry, what?
I want a single player StarCraft game, third person
Yes.
style.
Yes.
It doesn't
Ghost.
have to be a shooter. It doesn't. I would like to just kind of go through it as a whole separate character, and just experience more in the world, and just see like what's going on. How do other people deal with the things that are going on?
Yeah, man, I would love that. I would take that. I would pay money for that as well.
Already spending a lot of money today.
Yeah.
All the money.
All the
So we are
money.
talking about BlizzCon. We are talking
Yeah, we're talking
Maybe
about
we can
BlizzCon. Maybe we should
segue there.
Yeah, into some
Segue.
BlizzCon news, because the BlizzCon season is about to kick off.
Woohoo!
And
What
that's
does that mean?
It doesn't mean it. It's just a fact.
That means everybody is about to do their BlizzCon prediction
right.
shows.
I would pay money to go to BlizzCon.
Oh,
or
well,
maybe just buy the virtual ticket and watch stuff.
that's what I was about to say. No,
Would you pay money to watch stuff on the internet, Michael?
I usually do. I usually do.
I mean, it's considerably cheaper to buy a virtual ticket than make the trip out to Anaheim, but
Well, speaking of the virtual ticket, it's going on sale this Wednesday, September 12th at midnight CEST. Yeah.
exciting.
Make sure you get it.
What
So
virtual swag is going to be on offer?
I am going to spend money this week then.
Did they didn't release already the what's it called? What you get for it in game yet, right?
The goodie bag. No, it's probably all the usuals, icons for StarCraft 2 and stuff.
Portraits.
Portraits, yeah.
That's
See, I got
what
linked to this article, and they're suggesting like tune in for some exciting announcements about this year's show, as well as unveiling of the in-game item for Overwatch available to BlizzCon attendees and virtual ticket holders. So when you talk about Overwatch, that makes me think that they've already revealed what's the rest of the things that have been announced in the virtual ticket. But I cannot for the life of me remember seeing anything about that. Can you guys? Can
About
anyone
Overwatch?
out there?
Huh? I don't know what's going on. Where am I?
I don't remember seeing anything. So we're at least getting something for Overwatch. That's what we know. Getting something for Overwatch. I don't know what that can be. Maybe a shiny loot box or some kind of skin.
A skin. Or maybe it's a new hero. Maybe we get a new hero. Well, everybody gets a new hero, right?
Yeah,
So
I don't think
that
they're gonna
that would be fun.
exclusively give you a hero.
You get a
for-
new hero.
Could you
Everybody
imagine that?
Don't no. That would that would be as Talius, and then Evitels says a shit show.
Stealing their taglines.
That's what
So it
we
looks
do.
like it looks like for kind of the virtual ticket as well this year, they're introducing a few video series, some kind of creative processes in action, with Blizzard artists. They have something called the Vault, where we'll get to see historical items from games that are too important and in some cases too fragile to keep anywhere other than lock and key. What could that be?
Blackthorn.
Just the-
Blackthorn. Rock and Roll Racing. That's the one that hasn't been released on it. Blackthorn's available.
but like the text, the manuscripts of the creation of Blackthorn just locked away somewhere dusty to be can't bring those out.
Blackthorn is a rare mob in World of Warcraft, right?
We know that. We know
That's
that.
the one we're talking about, right?
I'm so confused where we're going with this segment. Marty just I don't know.
He derails things.
He
Sorry.
is a classic derailer. So we're also gonna get elite cosplay from concept to creation. So it looks like we're getting more kind of behind the scenes stuff with regards to Blizzard and the community as well. I'm really looking forward to more kind of things to do with the community. There's something called Pause for Laughter, which is an unconventional, whimsical look at Blizzard games and the unique personalities who make up our player community. So I don't know if any of you guys are featured on that. I'm certainly not, but I think
I can neither confirm or deny that.
I think I did enjoy it last year, where they had, for example, they had a couple of podcasts live on stage with the instance and the other one, which was something.
So it's so well known. Everybody knew it.
I All Stars, no,
Allcraft, right?
Allcraft, yeah, and no, I'm sure I've never listened to it, but I'm sure it's a very good show. I like the fact they did that, and they had another kind of roundtable discussion on stage with content creators, and I love that the fact that they're getting more involved with the community and people out there that are creating content and making them a part of it if they kind of choose to do that. So I mean, it's a big part to why these games are so successful, because of the community behind it and how
Is that a Anduin t-shirt that they're wearing?
that is, yeah, for the
No,
king.
I just noticed it right now. So
For those who
Or the
don't know
king.
what's going on, Marty just completely disregarded everything that Tom just said and asked him about his shirt, which is an Anduin shirt.
Yeah, it's Marty, you should have just press record, went back to your nap. Me and Michael will try and stop this show from going over the edge of the waterfall. And it's right now.
Don't put me up on a pedestal, because I just realized that for the whole first half of the show, the Twitch stream, it's been going, but it had the 203 overlay, and I just switched it to 204. So
I didn't even
mistakes
notice.
were made. Mistakes were made on my end.
Is that a Hogwarts t-shirt you're wearing, Michael?
It
Okay.
is. I am indeed wearing a Hogwarts t-shirt. This show this week, who knows what's going on?
This is bad. This is a new low. So
Where were
Oh,
we?
let's
BlizzCon.
just move away from that
BlizzCon,
segment because BlizzCon, it's coming soon. It's gonna happen. Maybe gonna announce Diablo 4. And if you are interested in buying the virtual ticket, that's going on sale this week. I know I'm gonna have to pick up one this year because usually my good friend Marty here picks it up.
You're
and
cheating on me.
I'm cheating on
cheating
you.
on me.
That's it.
Whoa.
Usually I go to Marty, or Marty comes to me for BlizzCon, and we do the virtual ticket. We sit there, we order pizza, we do Twitter stuff, and it's a good time. But this year I'm gonna be over with Michael, not literally with Michael, but I'm gonna be across in North America. So we're gonna have to buy an extra virtual ticket. We're gonna have to give Blizzard extra money this year, Marty. We can't 2-for-1 it anymore. We're gonna have to break the bank and buy those tickets. So I'm looking forward to BlizzCon. Always do, and it just feels crazy that another year has passed and we're talking about BlizzCon being pretty close. It's on the radar.
I'm looking forward to the speculation show where we're just going into speculations about what we're going to see at BlizzCon.
There's nothing more
always
to predict, is there? We've got our deck of Kane. We're getting our Diablo 4. That's going to be probably another show for people to avoid, just because.
Oh no, I have
more
plenty.
predictions
I have
left.
plenty.
a 10-minute show.
I have plenty to talk about. Don't worry.
That's
Okay.
okay. Michael's got this.
I love the prediction shows and prediction season, and people come up with crazy ideas about what might happen at BlizzCon, and we might come up with crazy ideas.
That's all I
And think
have is
about it.
crazy ideas.
We know.
Well, actually, if you do listen to the Recluse, you are guaranteed that what we are telling you usually happens. So if you want to know a sneak peek about what's going to be announced at BlizzCon, probably just listen to all our shows preceding BlizzCon, and you will then sit down and watch. In fact, you don't even need to buy the virtual ticket then, because you'll know what happens, because we've told you, because we always seem to call things right. And
True story.
Yeah. So start.
so true.
And we'd love to hear from you guys what you think would happen at BlizzCon. Just let us know, and maybe we'll save them all up and use it in our speculations episode.
Yeah, and use them as our ideas. That's a good
Yeah,
idea, Marty.
exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Great idea. Great idea.
All right. The race for World First will start this coming week because Mythic Uldir will be available, and I know, Tom, that you always find these the Mythic World First races so incredible boring because you don't really see anything. You just sit there and look at a WoW progress, and then like, oh, okay, now Mythic has killed one. Someone else has killed something as well, and then that's it. And all of a sudden, somebody has killed all 8, and then you have to wait a few weeks, and then you finally get to see the videos and the tactics and how they did it. So quite boring to follow, right? For some people.
I think so, as a spectator, and when you have these things, there's nothing really visual behind it. You're just hitting that F5 button. you see the screenshot, they've done it, like, okay, well done, you guys did it. And it doesn't do anything for me. It never really has, and it's all about the change, I do believe.
Wait,
Marty, it's about
what
to
changes?
change.
Is it? Yeah, because we are going to stream our raids. That's what you're meaning, right? That's my guild. No, Method actually has announced that they're planning to live stream their world first attempts. So you
Method
could actually
is the #1 World of Warcraft guild in the world of Warcraft, right? They are
They are
the
pretty
best.
good. They are
They're
pretty
the
good.
best.
I
They have
don't
the
know if
most.
they're best. They don't. I don't know if they're the best this year. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
But they are pretty good. They're pretty good.
Historically, they have the most world first kills. They're sponsored, and this is being sponsored by, is it Discord and Twitch as well? So they're kind of taking the
Mhm.
step that they're going to be doing all their progression, their wipes, and will be streaming it all on Twitch with player perspectives as well. I think from like their main tank and things like that. If I'm understanding this correctly, so what does this mean, Marty? What does this mean for a guild of that stature to open their doors to this? Is this potentially a change in the wind with regarding rating being an esport? Is it going to make that more desirable for certain people? Because, like we saying, previous times, it's really hard thing to document because guilds have wanted to keep their tactics secret because they want to get that world first. But now they're like, oh, let's open the door and make this a race and actually get some eyes on this, because I feel like it's probably if that's your thing, like world firsts and rating, then you want people to be watching this. You want people to be invested in that side of things if it's going to be sustainable as something, because a lot of these players probably do it full time. I mean, you would have to, because of the amount of attempts that some of these players are putting into encounters. You're talking hundreds, and it's long sessions as well, isn't it? Because I don't know exactly the time frame, but I know when this hits that there isn't going to be much shut eye for a few weeks while this gets taken care of. But if history is kind of right, the first raid isn't usually, it usually doesn't take that long to go down. It's usually like a nice warm up. It's like the it's like the preseason friendlies before the real bosses kick in.
But
Or am I wrong? You're the raider, Marty. You're the raider.
Obviously, I don't know the Mythic difficulty yet because it's not out. We haven't really been in there, but I actually think it's a little bit different this time around, because usually you say you say that you have the different tiers and it usually follows the tier sets, but we don't have tier sets this time around. So I would say that every raid now counts in its own way. And I think that just looking at the difficulties of the bosses on normal and heroic this fight, it really feels like, well, obviously I can't really talk 100% for heroic because we've only done 2 bosses on heroic so far, but and had twice on the third one. But it does feel like that third boss had a ramp up of difficulty that was a little bit higher than usual. So I think there actually could be a potential for this time around for it to actually be like a decent race. There's definitely some bosses that I imagine on Mythic could be very difficult to get through. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how that aspect is going to affect things that we don't really have tiers, so every raid counts. And also, I'm really looking forward to see this. I really hope that it's a success, because I think I definitely won't be watching all of it, but I would definitely check it out just to see, because I'm curious, how is it to be a Mythic Raider? How do they treat it? And besides, incredible numbers of pulls before they
I want to
actually
know
down
how
the
many
boss.
poop breaks they get in a day. I want to know things like that. I want to know what are they eating. What I think it is like fascinating to know, like, what is the actual schedule behind it, because all I really take note of is the Mythic goes live and then a few weeks later it's dead. But what is their like timetable, and especially if they're announcing now that we're gonna stream this, we're gonna stream this all, and they'll want to prove that we can live stream this and we can still get world first, because if they get ahead in the race, then their competitors obviously can watch that. That'll be information.
And that's what I'm also curious about to see, because will it actually have an impact? Will other guilds adjust their tactics when they see how Method did it, or how does this work? Or will you stick to your own tactics? Because that's something that I have experienced in my own guild, is that when the Mythic race is over, then you get these tactics, and this is how you're supposed to. That's how we did it. So this is how you should do it as well. And where we actually in our guild sometimes we're like, hey, if we change this up a little bit and do this instead, then it actually works in our favor with our setup and with our people and things like that.
If we leave Marty on the bench, we actually might do it.
No. The thing is, if I die like 80% into the encounter, then it's usually a kill. I don't know why.
It's some sort of weird voodoo sacrifice.
Yeah. I don't know.
What do you think about this, Michael? Because you watch a lot of things on Twitch. You probably, out of the three of us, you would be the guy that would watch a lot of competitive aspects of games.
So I've been thinking about this throughout, because one, you guys already touched on one aspect of it, which is the other teams watching and seeing what they're doing and kind of keeping tabs on them, see what kind of strats are going. So that's interesting from one standpoint. But if somebody's watching, that means that they are not putting their 100% into their run, which means they are behind in some way or another. So they're still trailing. So I think that's a interesting aspect to it, is that do we watch to see what they're doing, or do we just, like Marty said, stick with our own strats and just keep pushing even if they down it? Like, it takes a lot to completely change up your entire strategy just to match somebody else's, and just because one team can do it that way doesn't mean every team can do it that way. So from a strategic standpoint, it's an interesting thing to kind of put into play. I mean, most of those high level teams, they have people that do research separate than just the players. They're bigger teams and they actually have PR and stuff like that, so it is split up. Now, in terms of it blowing up, I don't think that's gonna happen, and the reason why is there are plenty of people that stream raids. There are plenty of high level players that stream raids. You got people like Sko and a few others that kind of, they live streams occasionally when they raid. And truthfully, unless you are really into 100% like the mechanics and the whole entire process behind the high level raiding scene, it's not exciting to watch somebody wipe 800 times. Like, that's just, it's not exciting to watch that, and I don't really see it. Like, I think it's cool, I'll probably definitely jump in there, but I don't see a steady amount of high numbers really kicking off on this.
I think I agree with you to some degree there, because I think it could suffer from what the arena kind of championship suffered from for a long time, where you're watching and you're not really clear what's going on. And that, as we've mentioned on the show many times, has improved a lot over the years with the introduction of their UI when they're broadcasting this and having commentators as well. And obviously I'm assuming we're not going to have commentators.
That's the next step.
I'm assuming we're not going to have commentators that are sitting there watching every single wipe, but I think that you will probably see a huge spike in numbers when Method, and if Method are leading the race and they get to the final boss and they're starting to attempt that final, that clincher. And I think you'll see a lot of people tuning in then to see exactly what the mindset is there, how that's playing out. Because I don't know if we're going to be able to hear them as well, hear them communicate what they're talking about, or is it just seeing what's happening? Because I kind of assume we might be hearing things as well, which is going to be interesting to, if we do, like how calm people are. Do people get irritated? Is there
arguments and drama that plays out?
Is there conflict? And I kind of feel like
there kind of has to be. There has to be. Like,
be.
If they are streaming this, it cannot be from the perspective of somebody that's just 100% quiet and all you do is like watch somebody play World of Warcraft. I think, like, if this is to succeed, one, I do agree that you're going to have a higher number once if they're in the lead and they're on that final boss. I think the numbers are going to spike up. I'm not a fan of judging something based on that, because that's like regardless of the finals, like StarCraft 2 always gets high numbers for like the BlizzCon finals, but it's not indicative of the entire tournament as a whole and its numbers. So it's like, we reached 100 and something thousand in StarCraft. Yeah, for like 20 minutes. It doesn't mean much in the long run. But I think it would be interesting if they kind of had somebody that is actually either dedicated to or part of the raid that is talking about, okay, so we went wrong here. Like, maybe they're just talking to the people watching. And they're like, what we messed up here, like speaking to the regular people, is this and this and this, and the mechanic is this, so we're trying to figure out a way to get around it, or maybe we just don't have enough DPS right now, or something like that. So I think that something like that would be interesting.
If they hired Taliesin and Avatar to just do commentary on it for however long it lasted for. If it lasted for a week, it was just a week-long stream, I would be watching it. I would just be there because I feel like it would be incredible. But no,
I'm wondering if it will also be like if because I think one of the things that a lot of people have been asking for as well is like spectate mode, so you can have that extra set of eyes, or you can teach other guildies and stuff like that. So I'm curious to if this will also, or if they could have technically have been doing it where they're streaming internally just for themselves or something like that. So they actually could have that extra person or a few extra like benched people. Because sometimes when you're in it, you don't see you don't see the full picture, but someone who's watching from the outside might actually see something, or it could be someone in the chat being like, hey, it's totally obvious that you're missing this, why are you not doing that, or things like that. And I think that aspect could be interesting to see if something like that actually might happen.
Of course it will. Twitch chat knows everything.
Slow Twitch chat down or something, because usually on popular streams it's just impossible to make sense of anything. I mean, look at our chat right now. It's crazy. It's a stream. It's a crazy stream.
Non-stop.
They're talking about gnomes and things. You know, it's
nothing related to what's going on.
I couldn't make sense of any of that. But I agree. If they have people watching that are part of the guild, and then outsiders going, hey, why don't you do this? And I couldn't imagine the raid leader sitting there reading the chat going, oh, Johnny Pants 9468 (994) says, we shouldn't kill the ads first. You know what, guys, we're gonna try that. Let's go. Attempt number 4,962. Pulling.
I'm pretty sure it won't be the raid leader who's sitting checking the Twitch chat. But I mean, Mythic do have other people doing other things as well for them. So I mean, they could have like a
I don't think any of the raiders should look at chat. I think all of the raiders should not have a chat open, and they should just focus. And the person that is streaming it, like a host or something, I don't know. This could be a great way to educate the player base, because I feel like so many players, including myself, are uneducated about the finer points of the game and what goes into it. Like Tom said, like what actually goes into it. I'm good at that one. I'm good at not standing in the fire. Like, that's the one thing I know, and that's the one thing I've practiced on, and I'm the best.
It's kind of hard to avoid the
that
fire.
Fight comes where you actually have to stand in fire, and then you're screwed.
I have Cavalier on twice just so that I can get away from it. But no, it's a good chance to educate people about the high points of the game, like the part that, to be honest, most of us are never going to see. Most of the people, despite what people on the internet might make you think, not everybody's out there mythic raiding, okay? Despite everyone thinking they know what's best, I for one am interested to see how they're going to approach it. They can put production into it and make it something to watch, or it can just kind of be there and just be something that you come across. And if it's something that you just come across, it's not going to be something that keeps your interest. But if it has some production value and is actually presented in a good way, it could be the start of something that people might actually be interested in watching.
It would be cool if they all lived in like the same house and they're all raiding, and then it cuts away when they're taking their break, and they all go to like a room inside the house, and they call it the war room, and you've got paper everywhere, and they've got bits of string. They're like, oh, we should have done this, and then there's people like going crazy and storming out and just making it like a dramatic show with fake drama and
Like those old
Something
school
like-
stuff, like cut the scene and it's just somebody talking. Like, I was really upset when Sko did that. It just made me feel like I wasn't a contributor to the group. I hope that he brings it around, but if not, then heads are gonna roll.
Yeah, get the team that made Azeroth choppers involved, and we'll have a hit. We will have a hit.
Oh,
Netflix
man.
series
Speaking,
coming
speaking of fake drama, have any of you guys tried the new Warfronts?
So, can
no.
we do that?
in. No,
I think
don't know.
there is a lot of confusion surrounding Warfronts and what Warfronts are, because I think I went in on Wednesday or whatever day it was when this went live, and I headed to Arathi Highlands, which, let's just start off by saying the reworked Arathi Highlands is so
Looks
good.
amazing.
Stormguard Keep is majestic. It's like, I'm glad we didn't get Lordaeron. If we got Stormguard Keep, I'm glad we didn't get Lordaeron. You know, this is way better, and they've totally kept the essence of the zone if you played during Classic. And honestly, I'm not too sure what it was like in Cataclysm, but it's still got that real flavor of, you know, the trolls are over this side, here's the ogres, and the elemental feeling to that zone as well. They've captured all these sections of the zone, which to me it's just classic Arathi Highlands, and they've give it kind of a texture overhaul, and it's fantastic.
Oh, it looks
and
gorgeous.
You've got
It
the
looks
two
so good.
kind of fortresses facing each other, just kind of offset to is it Forum's Wall? I don't know why I want to call it Forum's
Yeah.
Wall. And yeah, great place for a battlefield. And if you read Before the Storm, you know that's where certain things took place in that book, and it kind of just gives you that visual representation. You could just imagining it happen there. And yeah, I just want to say, for starters, that it looks incredible. I'm really kind of hyped at what they've done to that zone, and then it's making me think, what are they going to do to other zones to capture this war aspect? But I don't know, do one of you guys want to talk about jumping into Warfronts? That, well, I think a lot of people jumped into Warfronts and did quests there, as we were doing it from Alliance perspective, so it's different on the Horde, which we went around doing some quests, killing rares, and then we're just going, oh, that's not Warfronts, that's just the zone. It's not Warfronts, that's just the zone. And a lot of people got that confused, including myself, that Warfronts is actually something that you need to queue up for.
The weird thing is that
gain of possession of the zone.
When it got released, they also released this video about, oh, and then you'll go in and you'll have NPCs fighting alongside you, and you can reinforce them, and it all sounded so cool. And I was like, yeah, let's get in there. Let's, you know, fight the Horde, the filthy Horde, down with them. We need to win this war. And then I went there, and then, oh yeah, and then we have the good old barn over here, where and go visit that area, and oh, and here's some quests, and then that was it. And I was like, but where's the Warfront? Where's the war in all of this? I don't get it. And then you have the Horde you go to the war table, and you can see the progress the Horde has made, and it was like, last time I checked, at 84% or something like that. That's a few days ago. I don't know what is that now.
100%, baby, 100%.
Is it? And I'm like, it felt really anticlimactic, climactic, whatever. It was really weird to go in there and nothing happened. It everything felt really peaceful and serene. Except there was a world boss in there that didn't give me loot, and that was it. So all in all, a fairly big disappointment so far.
Yeah.
Well, it looks great. It looks great. So I'm not completely disappointed.
Initially, those quests were pretty cool because there was 1,000 people like all doing it together, so those rares were just like melting away. At first I was like, oh my god, I have to kill like 120 enemies right now because there's 20 over here, 20 over there, 20 over there. But there were so many people involved with it that we were getting it down pretty quickly, so that was pretty cool. I was getting some gear. I got like a piece of 270 gear or something like that, or 370.
340. 340. 370. You got a Titan Forged?
Yeah. I got like some pretty high
nice.
stuff. Like I got a piece of 360 gear.
Who needs
something
rating?
else. That's right. I'm lucky. All right. No, like it was really cool, and then it just stopped. And they're like, "Hey, watch this progress bar go up." And I went in there today to kind of see what was going on, and it's just empty. Whatever people that weren't on top of it the first time it popped up were doing their quests, and that was it. And I'm really confused on. I watched the video like you guys, and they're like, it's kind of like advertising the original Final Fantasy nowadays, where it's like, we have this awesome new combat system. You take your turn, and then you wait for them to take their turn. And then when they're done, then you can go again. It's like really weird that it's supposed to be war, but we can't kind of go out and mess with the Horde as they're doing this. Like, imagine if you turned on war mode and you were able to go out and hinder their progress in some way. Like, that would be kind of cool. Like, kind of like an open battleground type deal. Like, maybe you're not making progress for yourself, but you're trying to hinder their progress. I think that would be really cool. How you balance that,
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know, but it's an idea.
I think the issue with this is, so right now, I believe on the EU side, Horde hit 100%. So they, from what I know, they do quests to contribute to that, and they fill up the bar slowly. And then once they hit 100%, the Alliance now have a timer for 6 days before they can start building their effort to retake over Arathi Highlands. So Alliance now will look at that, and for like 6 days they can't do anything with regards to Warfronts. The Horde will then be able to queue up for a scenario to take control. So then they'll get the world boss and they'll get the quests that the Alliance side have done so far. How long that takes for that scenario to play out, I'm not too sure. I believe it was a few days. But the issue here is, like Michael says, there's no way to hinder that. I mean, there's no way to hinder the contribution, and then there's no way to hinder the battle that then takes place. It's a battle that you will win eventually. I don't know if factors depend on how long that takes, but you will win that, take control of Arathi Highlands. So I think when it was kind of announced, it was exciting to think that, oh yeah, Warfronts, there's a lot of elements from Warcraft 3, that strategy side of things, empowering units, but it's fizzling a bit because people want to jump in and do that. Obviously, this week, Alliance have been able to do the side of it when you have control of Arathi, which was a bit weird because we were expecting to go in and do something to take control.
War.
Yeah, the war front. And now apparently the Horde have control of that, and they'll be engaging in the scenario side to take back Arathi. But also, if you go to the forums right now, you will see that it is bugged and there is issues behind that, and it's not working. And there's a lot of pitchforks, a lot of angry people.
Rushed content. Watch this guy.
So it was gated and it's now not working. So it's run into a bit of difficulties, which is sorry to see. So I think everyone's a bit confused. Everyone is a bit confused what Warfronts are, how they change hands, how long it's going to take. Seems a bit weird, and we're kind of now just sitting here going, whoa, nobody has a clue. The only thing I know is when I Hearthstone back from Arathi Highlands back to Kulturis, I'm confused why I can't fly. I'm there on my mount. I'm like, I can't fly anymore. It's so weird. I go to fly, I Hearthstone back, I come out the inn. I'm like, let's fly. Oh, no, brain. We're back in Kulturis. That's okay, but it's kind of weird going to a zone where you can fly again and do relevant content and then head back.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to start the flying argument. I'm not going to start that.
Do we know anything about if those quests are they a weekly quest, or is it every time you have the
Yeah, it's not weekly, but it's
or-
every time it changes hands. So
every time it changes hands.
once
Okay,
you get it
because
back, you'll be able to do that again. I
Yeah,
don't know if
because
that changes up or gets
Hmm.
different, or it's just the same.
I just thought it was really nice that one of the quests actually give like a 340 item straight out of the box. I mean, on my shaman, it didn't really matter too much because he's already geared that good. But it was nice for my ult, for instance, to jump in and a free 340 item. I'll take that, yes, please. So, and I can imagine it's a pretty good catch-up mechanic as well for other people who are switching mains or playing ults or whatever they're doing. So looking forward to see how that all plays out as well. And the fact that the respawns can drop like a complete set of gear that looks pretty cool for most classes as well. It's pretty cool. So I mean, overall, I really liked the zone. I liked how it looked and what they've done with it, and all the stuff they've been doing there is pretty cool. But the Warfront itself, it's weird. I don't get it, and I'm looking forward to actually see how everything plays out when we get a little bit more further down the line.
One thing that I do have a problem with so far this expansion is the new things that they've introduced in terms of like Warfronts and island expeditions. I feel like they haven't conveyed them very well in game about why we should be doing it and how you go about doing it. I have not done one island expedition outside of like when they initially introduce it and you do that, because I forget that it's even there. It's not like a dungeon where it's just like, hey, this is part of your story and you're going into dungeons and you're doing them frequently enough in the beginning where you know you should be doing them. With these, it's like some one-off thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, where do I even go to get these things? And I think that's a problem, especially these are your new things. Like, why are you not smashing me in the face with them?
A lot of people are also complaining that to queue for them, you actually need to go to that table and queue up, and you can't just queue through the dungeon finder for like you can with everything else. But I have to agree with you that I mean, the reason for me to go there is that it's a quick way to get artifact power for your artifact. So that's why you want to do at least a weekly every week. So that's why you would do it. But story-wise, there's not really. I have to agree. They didn't really pop you too much in there.
I have a prediction about island expeditions. I feel like they're testing tech for something in the future, and it looks like they're using some sort of AI tech, also procedural generation with regards to factors phasing in there and it being different each time. And I think it's in a really light phase, and maybe we might see that tech used in dungeons in the future or something on a grander scale. And it's always the way with expansions though, isn't it? And I agree that it's weird that it's not really being pushed into the light, saying, oh yeah, maybe do 3 of these island expeditions. And I know it's tied to the traits, actually, the research traits that you have to discover 5 islands, different islands, to progress that. So that's one way to get people in, but I agree with Michael, it's not in your forefront of, like, why don't you head over, try this new feature, and get people playing it. If it is going to be something bigger in the future, you obviously want more people playing it to test that out and see how it feels. And a lot of people,
it's because it's rushed.
Well,
a lot of people.
Go ahead, finish up.
As I say, like, a lot of people like myself, I know, Amanda's saying in chat, like, we've only done one of them. Like, me and her, we've only done one of them, and we actually enjoyed it. We went in with like some random dude who ran off and died, but I enjoy the kind of premise of what island expeditions could be. It feels a bit light. It feels like it's quite bare bones in that regard. But
yeah, I think a lot of people compared them to the old scenarios in Pandaria, where it actually felt like you went there and had a purpose and things like that. Where these just feel really sort of like everything is the same, what you're doing. So,
go ahead, Michael.
I forgot kind of what I was going to say. I had it, but I just like, I don't know, like, I didn't even know the reward. I remember in Legion, I think it was, where sometimes occasionally when I would log in, I'd kind of get a pop-up on the screen from like the adventure guide that was like, hey, you should be doing this right now. And while you can always access that tab, I think Legion was a bit better in terms of like kind of popping it up when I logged in and was like, hey, have you done this? Like, this is something you can do. And I don't know why I haven't gotten that this time around, where it's like, hey, you still have like a Warfront that you haven't done, or an island expedition. Like, that type of stuff like kind of helps me facilitate amongst the many things that I have to do. Like, hey, you got world quests over here you could do. Just letting me know actively what's available to me. I think that would definitely help out.
Yeah.
I know there's, just going to bring up another MMO. I know Final Fantasy 14 does something like that when you log in. You log in and it's like, oh, there's these activities you can do right now, or maybe you need to continue this quest, or there's these, it kind of just reviews that for you. I know that the journal is supposed to do that, but I think sometimes it's not really clear as well. You kind of cycle through and it's like, oh, do this battleground, do this dungeon, or do this raid, and maybe they could make that better of going into specifics, like, oh, you haven't there's a quest over here in this zone that maybe you want to go check out, or like we say, these new features that have been put in.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things that we've talked about. Well, I have talked about at least on the show at some point, where even when you come to like when it comes to like the main quest line, the storyline that you want to follow, that in the Old Republic, Star Wars: The Old Republic, for instance, you can see in your quest log that this is the main quest line. Go do these quests in this order to get the story, and all this over here, that side quest, and I think that's one of the things that World of Warcraft really lack right now, is some sort of, these are actually the things you can do, and we would advise you to do it in this and this order or whatever. Something to guide you through the story, especially when we get a few patches down the line and you're like, oh, okay, maybe you're starting out, this is your new character for this expansion, or maybe you've taken a break, or maybe you're playing an old, and then you get to max level and you get all of these things to do all of a sudden, but something to guide you down. All right, you can unlock these instances by doing this, and then you need to go over here and do that, and then lastly we have this new content over here that you should go check out.
I think Selena makes a great point in chat. She's saying adventure guide, or have Anduin pop up and say it's a sexual. I mean, imagine that. The king, I'm pointing to my t-shirt right now, pops up on your screen. He's like, champion, I need you to go and do 10 island expeditions. It's a matter of great urgency for the Alliance. You're not gonna say no to Anduin. You're gonna do that. You're gonna sign up and do 10 of the fuckers.
I will. Anduin, go away. But at least I know that he's there caring for me, you know.
Can't
He
argue
knows
with the
my
king.
name.
Can't argue with the king.
The king knows my first name.
He does. He also knows your second. We can't repeat that.
Okay, I think that's what we had for you this week. So I think it's time for us to head over to the bar, close it down,
No, it's
and
not. Stop right there. Stop right there, Marty. Telling you to stop because it's not time. We have one more thing.
Okay.
We have one more thing, and it's a segment we like to call "Ask Us a Question."
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Just, the community side of things, Marty. Don't forget about the community.
I scrolled down on the document that we actually prepared before the show, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's also the segment called Ask Us a Question.
That's why we have that document.
Exactly. I should just follow the instructions.
As punishment,
See,
Marty, you can read the
could-
question.
you could
you can read the question.
You could put all these instructions into World of Warcraft, and I will not follow them anyway. All right, the question this week is from Titan's Creed, and he is asking, with the continued push of artifact power grinding for a neck piece, with Azeroth level 30 needed to unlock innermost wings and cured raid armor, and who knows what for the future, and the casual gamer today feeling overwhelmed with this prospect, how can you propose that Blizzard can take a stance that World of Warcraft can be relatively respectful of a player's free time rather than be pushed into playing a game non-stop to stay up to date? That's a good question. So I'll throw it over to the casual players. Tom and Michael, how are you doing?
Hi there. I'm casual. Go ahead, Michael. I want to hear what you say first.
All right, so in terms of this, I feel no pressure at the moment with the leveling the gear and all that. So in here it says like Azerite armor, you need like level 30 to unlock the innermost rings on current raid armor. For a more casual person, that's not really top of their list of things to do.
As a casual player, I'd like to say, what is raiding?
No. But no, I don't feel like that's something that a casual player is really thinking about. Like, yes, it's something to kind of incentivize you to keep playing. Like, oh my god, I want to see what that innermost thing is. But you do know that that innermost thing is usually what? It just the 5 eye levels,
+5
right?
item level.
Yeah, so it's not that huge of a deal, and I don't feel pressured myself personally, unless I wanted to be a part of like new content right when it comes out. Boom, boom, boom. I want to be a part of it. I don't feel that it's necessary for me to grind AP at the moment. I have still been able to do everything that I need to do without grinding the AP. I feel like there's enough going on where I can get it if I want it. and nothing is being really restricted to me. I feel like this is more of something that affects people that want to be on the forefront. Other than that, I don't really care. They have catch up mechanics that help new players, and they brought that in from Legion. I think that's good. I don't care. Like, that's the bottom line for me, is that I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me negatively or positively in any way. It's just kind of there, and I could care less whether there was a grind or not.
Do you have anything, Tom, or do you want me to jump in?
Are you gonna counter this argument? I need to know. Are you gonna counter this argument?
I'm not going to counter it now.
Oh no,
So
because I was like, as a casual player, and like Michael says, I know there's with regards to Azerite power, I'm not sure if it's each week that amount will reduce that you need to level up as well. So I know that's in place, and I actually feel like since Legion, with regards to the emissaries, that it's on like it's not like daily quest. You don't have to log in every day now, and I feel like I can go in. I can miss a couple of days of Warcraft, and I can go in and finish a couple of emissaries. I can get a good chunk of rep, which progresses that grind, and I can get potentially some armor, some items as well. And also with the introduction of the Warfront with Arathi Highlands, I've been going around there and picking up a couple of fairly decent items to get myself ready for the likes of Mythic Plus, if I want to venture into that, which right now I'm not ready because I've only done a couple of normals. So I'm a very casual player coming from this perspective, and I still feel like I've got quite a lot to do with regards to finishing up side quests and the war campaign as well, which I still need to finish up, and the main Pride of Culture. So I've got quite a lot on my agenda that I want to do before I consider start doing these things, which I would class as repetitive, which, you know, you're farming dungeons, you're doing that side of things, which I'm not saying repetitive bad. I'm just saying they're things that you would repeat quite a lot. So I'm getting everything else done before I go into that. So I think it's potentially to do with the environment that you're in. Maybe if your guild is more set around that, oh, you need to have this amount. If you're going to raid, you need to have to meet this expectation. And if you're surrounded by people that maybe they're a bit competitive and they're kind of pushing themselves that way, that you will feel the pressure to do that. And I was actually on Whispers of War, which is a podcast by Sil, a few weeks ago, and one of my tips was play the game how you want to play it. Don't feel that pressure, because we're in a time of a new expansion where you should be just trying to enjoy what's there if it works, and if it's not time gated, just try and enjoy that and don't feel that pressure, because you will see a lot of people at different levels compared to you, and they'll be, you know, pushing themselves a bit more and grinding a bit more, but you just gotta maybe take a step back and just play it your way and enjoy the game that way. And that's what I've been doing. And I'm a you know, professed casual gamer, and I'm not ashamed to say that, and I'm having a lot of fun in Warcraft. You know, I see a lot of people around me voicing concerns, and I just been staying quite positive about the expansion so far. I've still got a lot to uncover before I can fully make a judgment, but as a casual player, that is my point. Over to you, Martin.
Okay. First of all, I just want to give you a little tip first. If you are, if you like to min max anything in World of Warcraft, then our little tip is here that every reset day. So for us in the EU, that means Wednesday. The amount of Azerite that you need for the next few levels will be reduced. But the way that they do this is that the amount that you add right now is not the actual number, but the percentage, which means that if you're at 20% today, then after reset day, you're still at 20%. But that also means that number that you need to get to 100% is smaller after reset day. So if you want to min-max, save the two quests from the two emissary quests, Monday and Tuesday, save those for the Wednesday and don't deliver them until Wednesday, because then your Azerite is actually worth more.
Damn.
Small tip for the min-maxers right there. And then I would say that I'm a raider, and to be honest, I'm not really too bothered with these Azerite levels. I'll get there eventually. I mean, sure, it is player power, but that's it. It's just player power. It's a little bit of player power, extra player power. I don't really feel like the abilities that you get is that interesting. I don't really look at them. I don't really know what mine do. To be completely honest, I just watched someone like a list. These are the ones you want to get, and that's just a list that I'm following, and I'm hoping that they actually know what they're talking about, because it doesn't really feel, it's not too interesting. I feel like not at least for my class. I know there's some of them. I know there was some of the restoration druid. I remember when I was beta testing that some of them actually changed your playstyle a little bit, and I thought that was pretty cool. But I don't really feel like for the class I'm playing that it changes anything really. So I'm not really that bothered. I'm doing my weekly quest, all the things that my weekly all the weekly stuff that you can do. But besides that, I'm not going all in on Azeroth artifact power grinding as I did last expansion, because it doesn't really feel like it changes that much, to be honest. And we'll get there eventually. So that's sort of like my stance. I know that there's some of my guildies that have gone ham on it, on the whole grind, and I mean, that's if that's your thing, then do it. I just know if I do it, then I will burn myself out, and I don't want to burn myself out. I want to have fun with this game. So but I mean, it is still player power, so obviously if you want to be better and do a few extra percentage of DPS next time you're raiding, then go for it. But besides that, the casual player, I don't really feel like they should bother at all. Just play the game and
you'll get it naturally.
Exactly.
The rep, on the other hand, that's a whole different one. Like, rep is, if you want to talk about the grinds for a casual player, rep, just like Selena said in the chat, like, I've got a rep grind to work on, like, that's the one, if anything, as a casual player, I have
roll
a bit
human.
more.
Roll human, and you just...
I shouldn't have to choose a certain race to get certain benefits, Tom, okay? Equality for all.
if you're a smart World of Warcraft Alliance player, you will know that
calling me stupid because I'm a dwarf.
The diplomacy trait is an incredible trait to go for, and since there's always been rep, that trait has saved me many hours of my life.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably talk for a long time about the rep grind, because and I think we actually have talked a little bit about it last week as well. The 7th Legion for the Alliance rep grind, how horrible that is.
I like rep grinds. I've always enjoyed a good rep grind, and I'm just like, bring it on. What do I have to do? How long is it gonna take? I'll do it. I was there back in the Burning Crusade.
Oh, here we go again.
Neverwing eggs for the Neverwing where you started off. I hated, weird stuff like that back in the day where you weren't even neutral. You weren't even friendly with people when you were starting the rep grind. So let's go back to those days.
Button? Can I just press this button? I'm pressing it.
Last orders! Last orders!
I just want to say thank you to Titans Creed for sending that question in, by the way, because it was a bit of a thinker.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. You out there, if you have a question, we have a Discord channel, which Tom will tell us about later, and then you can ask questions, and we love that. We love to answering questions about that. But before we get all the way over there, where Tom has to talk for a few minutes, we just want to quickly shout out to a podcast that we're doing called Nerd This, and this week we are, slight spoiler alert, we're talking about things that we're looking forward to. It can be games, it can be
TV
movies.
shows.
Is it BlizzCon? Did we just talk about looking forward to BlizzCon? Maybe
nobody knows. You can check out Nerd This, the podcast, nerdthispodcast.com. Check it out.
Is that website up yet?
Well, there's something.
There's something there. There will be something there.
Yeah. Also, Michael, you have been guesting. You've been out and about and plugging our show, I hope.
Yes, of course, everywhere. I plug the show. This week, I think you should be seeing me on Whispers of War, which is Sil's podcast, and I also guested on Frazzly's Frazzlecast with Silverbolt. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. It's always a good time over there, even though there's gnomes. It's still clean. It's awesome.
Still clean. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be not clean?
Because they're a bunch of greasers, always working on stuff. Dirty hands, just building mechanical stuff, leaving things around. Gets messy.
Stay around because after the show we have the Freshly Report. Let us know your thoughts about anything we talked about on this episode, or if you have your own questions, feel free to contact us. Tom, how do people do that?
You can email the show at thebluereclusepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at the Blue Recluse. And like Marty says, come on over to our Discord, bluerecluse.eu/Discord. There we talk about Blizzard games. We find free games on the internet, post them there. But of course, you can also ask us a question and then we answer it on the show. And then we give you a link from YouTube to that exact moment where we answer the question. So you don't even have to listen to the whole show. I mean, that's just service right there. We also like iTunes reviews. If you want to do that, we would gratefully accept them. You can support the show over at patreon.com/the Blue Recluse, and you can find all that information and more for this episode and other episodes, old episodes, on our website, thebluerecluse.eu or thebluerecluse.com.
And speaking of our website, I am going to do something really scary very soon. And that is that our old...
Delete the website.
I'm deleting the old website. No, I'm deleting my old server. I'm closing down my oldest server. And on this oldest server is where the Blue Recluse has its home. So I'm going to move the website from one server to another server, and that's really scary because that's a lot of episodes, man.
Well, I know you can get some greasy-handed gnomes over, and I'm sure it'll just be fine.
It'll just be messy.
Let's hear from those greasy gnome hands. Presley, take it away.
Welcome to the Frazzly Report, a short news report by me, Frazzly, the awesome gnome, to deliver your World of Warcraft news. Did you all hear the news? Our friend Alessander told me during the recent Twitch recording for Epic Fail Podcast that there was a new Warcraft movie coming. I know, I couldn't believe it either. So I went to the link they provided, and sure enough, the title is Blizzard may be working on Warcraft 2 as a cinematic movie. I wanted to know more, so I started talking with my sources. Well, after looking at some LinkedIn profiles, I found the profile for Terran Howard. It's oddly similar to another director we know from World of Warcraft. So I found Terran Howard's number, I called them up, and I found out from them that the news is going to break soon on this, and they gave me an exclusive and invited me to the interviews for the movie's press junket, which, by the way, had some delicious food. Well, here's my interview.
Good day, Mr. Sparkspan. I'm Terran Howard, the director of the full-length Warcraft cinematic movie.
Thank you for talking with me, Mr. Howard. This is my first press junket, and thank you for giving me a lift up, and also for providing a booster seat for me for this director's chair. So why did you decide on cinematics for the sequel to the Warcraft movie?
We decided with Warcraft 2 to go full cinematic. Cheaper than building sets and such. Plus, our cinematic team has reached Pixar level of quality.
You have the same first name as Taron Gregory, the cinematic director.
My brother is Taron Gregory.
Oh, how has it been working with your brother?
Taron is amazing. His cinematic prowess is top-notch. I am his older brother, so I do pick on him a lot.
Do people ever get you confused by both being named Taron?
Absolutely. But thankfully, our brother Larry introduces us. Wherever we go, he says, I'm Larry, and this is my brother Taron, and this is my other brother Taron.
That doesn't make... Oh well, never mind that. How did you decide on full cinematics for the sequel?
We went for the cost, and after seeing that amazing Diva cinematic, as well as the Sarfang cinematic, we wanted to give the honor of a sequel to a team that had been kicking butt.
What is...
Mr. Sparkspan, I didn't quite catch what you said.
Sorry about that. I think my mic is messing up. What is your...
What is My Bologna? That's a song by Weird Al. He just got a Hollywood Walk of Fame star.
No! Microphone, you are making me very frustrated.
Yes, Frazzly.
Acting up,
No, Frazzly.
telling lies.
No, Frazzly.
What? Oh, oh my gnome! I fell asleep and was stuck in a meme dream based on a weird YouTube video series. Ah, phooey! I still need to record the Fraz report. Okay. Ah, yes. Alessandro shared an interesting story with me. Netflix may be working on a Diablo TV series. Oh, that is quite interesting. Okay, I got that story added to my docket, even if it isn't quite Warcraft related. Okay, time to record. Here we go. Happy place. Happy place. Numbergon returned to its former glory. Okay, I better make sure at the end to say that this has been the Fraz report, and then end with my line. Until next time, be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.